Okay. You already know who I be. Bye. Bye. It's that Boss Hog KP, boy. Bye. Listen.
What's the deal, baby? You already know who it is, the big Boss Hog. Boss Hog KP through the door. Here to talk this football. Before I get about solidical, them tough talks don't last. Can people do? Don't love yourself. Call that man if I lie. Remember you matter. P game, 84's on wood. Swing. Alright. So, we're going to start with the news. The news around the league right now. Amari Cooper's traded to the Bills, right? That deal was confirmed yesterday. I actually like that. Give Josh Allen another weapon. A veteran wide receiver, battle tested. I call Amari Cooper like a 1.5 receiver, right? He's not a 2, but he could be your wide receiver 1.5. Some games he show up, some games he don't. The games he show up, he gonna go off. You know what I mean? He gonna catch 10 passes and, have 300 receiving yards. You know what I'm saying? And then you gonna have games where he have 2 receptions for 10 yards. You know what I'm saying? That's how inconsistent he is. But I like it. You know what I mean? It gives Josh Allen a weapon. The Bills have hit the reset button on their team. So, they're trying to get younger, and kind of revamp that team. So, I like the addition of Amari Cooper, kind of be that veteran presence in that wide receiver room, teach Keon Coleman, some things, and be able to help, this Bills team. You know what I'm saying? So, and I definitely think, with this acquisition, the Bills can make the playoffs or maybe make a run in the playoffs. Davante Adams gets traded to the New York Jets from the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I'm a Texas fan and a Raiders fan. So, I was kind of happy Davante Adams got traded. Davante Adams kind of on the decline. And I'm not saying this because he got traded. He's on the decline. He's still a top 10 wide receiver, but he's not the best wide receiver. You know what I mean? Also, Aaron Rodgers on the decline as well. I just think that this is not going to help the Jets. I don't see them a dramatic change. I don't see them, making the playoffs. There's some organizational things going on within this organization. I think this was a distraction. I think they made this trade to kind of distract people, be like, oh, look, we got Davante Adams, so people get excited. I think the New York Jets, I know they're trying to go all in with Aaron Rodgers, but you're not in a position to win a Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers is 40-something years old. You know what I mean? If he get tackled the wrong way, that's it. Y'all still haven't addressed your offensive line. I just feel like the Jets should have built through the draft for the future. You get what I mean? That's what I think they should have done. I feel like they should have drafted a quarterback. I feel like they should have bolstered up the offensive line. I just feel like the way they're going about it is the wrong way. You know what I mean? And, it's going to be another experiment that they did that fails. And I'm just going to be honest with you. So, I don't see the Jets making the playoffs. I don't see Davante Adams, becoming, the best wide receiver in the league. I don't see that. You know what I mean? I'm still going to see Davante Adams is still going to be upset. I don't know why he's happy. I mean, I guess because he's back with Aaron Rodgers, but he's going to be still upset. You know what I mean? So, that's just what it is. Now, let's segue off into next week's games, right? I got 3 marquee games that I'm paying attention to, that I'm going to watch, that I feel like are going to be good games. So, we're going to start off with the Houston Texans, right? They're going up to Green Bay, Wisconsin to face the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love and that great offense. This is a tough test for the Houston Texans. Keys to victory for the Texans. They got to be able to stop the pass and be able to run the football. I feel like if they can run the football, they can control the clock and basically keep Jordan Love on the sideline. They got to be able to run that football. You know what I mean? That's the key thing. They got to be able to run the football, control the clock, keep Jordan Love on the sideline. Also, defensively, right? They got to be able to keep these Green Bay receivers in check, right? And the defensive line got to hit home, right? They got to be able to frustrate Jordan Love, right? Keep him in the pocket, make him roll out to his left, okay? Because when Jordan Love roll out to his right, he money. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make Jordan Love uncomfortable. I think this Texas defense can do that. Now, Mario Edwards is out, but they get Denico Autry, So we shall see if Denico Autry can be able to pick up where he left off last year when he was in Tennessee. But, you know, this is going to be a tough game. I think it's going to be a close game, right? I think that, you know, the Texans and the Packers are going to have to dig deep. But I'm going to ride with my hometown team on this one. I say the Texans win this game by 3. I think it comes down to a field goal. I say 24-21. All right, now we finna segue off into my next game that is on my radar. This is a good one. Detroit Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings. You got the Detroit Lions who are 4-1, and then you got the Minnesota Vikings who are 5-0. This is a great game. The Lions are coming off a high. They beat the brakes off the Dallas Cowboys. I love that win, by the way. Good job. Beat the brakes off the Dallas Cowboys. You know what I'm saying? That offense is cooking. You know, the Detroit Lions is tough. You know, they're innovative. The offensive coordinator, you know, he just dialing up whatever. You know what I mean? Y'all saw how he caught that play where they ran a screen to the receiver, and then the receiver flicked it to the offensive lineman. The offensive lineman dumped in the end zone, but it was a penalty, so they had to call it back. They dialing up whatever in Detroit. But I like it because of the physicality, right? So the keys for victory for Detroit is they got to be able to run that football. They got to do what they do. They got to live and die with who they are. And that Brian Flores defense, you know, that's confusing a lot of these quarterbacks and these teams. The Lions got to be able to wear them down. And they got the 2 running backs to do that. You got Montgomery. He ain't going down on contact. You know what I mean? You got to form tackle him. You got to wrap up and take him to the ground. You try to arm tackle him, alligator arm tackle him, he running you over, he running through that. Then you got Gibbs, who speed back, also can run through some stuff, but he's more of a speed back. You try to alligator arm tackle him, he break it through that. So like I said before, the key for the Detroit Lions is to run the football, right? And I think with these 2 guys, if they're able to get going, they're going to pose an issue for the Vikings. But they got to be able to wear them down. And Jared Goff got to be able to be, you know, pretty pedestrian with the football. I don't expect Jared Goff to have to throw for, you know, 300 yards. I don't expect that. I expect Jared Goff to, you know, probably throw the ball between 20 and 25 times, throw for like between 170 and 200 yards. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be that type of game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I got the Detroit Lions upsetting the Minnesota Vikings 17-14, right? Now, let me dial it back. What the Vikings got to do, right? Offensively, run the football, right? Which they're very good at. Get Aaron Jones going. All right, they got Cam Akers now, so get Cam Akers going. And then also be able to get the ball to Jay Jettis. You know what I mean? Get the ball to Jay Jettis, set the plexer, pass deep ball, and let Jay Jettis eat. So, and defensively, they just got to keep doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? Confusing. That scheme that Brian Flores got is off the chain. You know what I mean? It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I actually like it. So, Brian Flores got something good going on that defense. But like I said before, they got to get the ball in Jay Jettis' hands. This is definitely a tough test for them corners in Detroit. But I feel like Detroit will be able to give Minnesota Vikings their first loss. Like I said, 17-14, I got Detroit. Lastly, we got them Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football going against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got Lamar Jackson versus Baker Mayfield. This is a good matchup. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who's coming off of a win in New Orleans. They put 50 on them. They put a 50-piece McNugget on them, right? And then you got Baltimore, who's coming off of a hard-fought win against Washington, right? So, keys to victory for Baltimore. Get that ball to King Henry. Let King Henry eat. Get a ball to him and wear that defense down, control the clock, keep Baker Mayfield off the field, right? That's the key for the Baltimore Ravens, right? They got to be able to run the football with Lamar and King Henry. I think if they're able to do that, they can win this game, right? Defensively, they got to be able to keep Tampa Bay's receivers in check. So they got to be able to keep Godwin in check, and they got to keep Mike Evans in check, right? If they're able to do that, right, they could come out with this win. I'm actually picking Baltimore to win this game. I'm going to reveal my score in a minute. Tampa Bay, what they got to do, They got to be able to run the football against Baltimore's defense. They got to run the football to set up the pass. Also, let Baker Mayfield be Baker Mayfield. You know what I'm saying? Baker Mayfield with his off-script plays, I think that's going to be key. You know what I mean? Him going off the script, him scrambling around, and those top two receivers that they still got, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, being able to, basically do their thing. So I think that if they're able to do that, run the football, kind of corral Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, I can see ways that Ted Baker win. But I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens to win this game. I think it's going to be a high-score game. I got it 35-24. I just think Baltimore, with that running game, that threat of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry is going to be a problem. I don't feel like that Tampa Bay defensively is going to be able to stop that or corral that. But those are my 3 games. I purported the news. Y'all let me know what y'all think about those games. Continue to interact with us. You know what I'm saying? This is the Mind on Greatness podcast. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing this solo dolo today. But shout out to Mike. Shout out to Peso. Shout out to Jeff. Shout out to Coach B, a.k.a. Broderick, a.k.a. Soldier B. You know what I'm saying? It's going down like this and like that. This is the Mind on Greatness podcast because our mind's still focused on greatness. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Bye, Scott.